Vinyl community, Blues Magoos fans, random people on the internet, my name is Giggens, and we are here today to talk about the Blues Magoos' debut album, Psychedelic Lollipop, released on Mercury Records in 1966. The Blues Magoos were a early kind of like, let's get this going proponent for psychedelic music in the pop world marketplace. They had a really cool pop and blues sensibility, but also knew when to get far out and freaky, which must have been really, really awesome and bizarre and off-putting when, all these people tuned into the Jack Benny show one night to see these guys, being all trippy with their lights and just jamming away, bouncing, jumping up and down, having a good time. That must have put a lot of the older people, a lot of the squares on edge. But, I bet if a lot of the teenagers turned in at that point, they were probably like, blown away by these guys because they were a force to be reckoned with live-wise. Totally far out stuff, man. But yeah, these guys, 5 guys out of Brooklyn, they hit number 5 with We Ain't Got Nothing Yet. That was their highest charting single. They put out a few LPs in the 60s with the original group before they kind of broke up, kind of dissolved, kind of became other bands. Different members were under the Blues Magoos title for a little while in the early 70s, and eventually it just kind of petered out into nothingness. And they've since gotten back together with a few of the guys, starting I think at around 2008, 2009, and actually played a show with the Zombies. So they're back, which is pretty cool. But this is where it all started, Psychedelic Lollipop on Mercury Records in 1966. The original group consisting of Ralph Scala on keyboards and vocals, Peppy Thielhelm? Gonna not really know how to say that name, but he played guitar and sang. Ron Gilbert on bass, Mike Esposito on guitar, and Jeff Docking on drums. So apologies for any sort of mispronunciation with any of those names, but man, these guys were awesome. For the few records that they put out, they made some really, really good stuff. So let's do it. The opening track on this thing, We Ain't Got Nothing Yet. This was their highest charting song. This was their hit for them. And with great reason. I mean, it's an excellent track. It's an excellent way to start off this album. It's got this, tons of organ just dripping all over this thing, exciting drum and guitar riffs, and vocals that are just oozing with the hunger of a young band, desperate and willing to do anything to make it. To show off and prove themselves and say like, hey, we're here. Our mission statement is to blow your minds and freak you out, and we're going to have a good time doing it. You're going to have a good time enjoying it, and this is it. Here we are. We're bringing all we've got to this table, and they really do. Fantastic start to this album. Really is a blueprint of what you expect throughout the rest of the LP. Which is interesting because the next song, Love Seems Doomed, is a total departure from that, and it really showcases that moody blues that they are really good at doing. This track is really kind of like a downtrodden vocal, and the only positive sounding music that comes from it is when they say the title of the song. When they say Love Seems Doomed, it sounds almost like the only happy part of the song, which is interesting. Lots of organ, sort of muted guitars, kind of a down-tempo track, which works right back into Jumping Over the Edge with Tobacco Road, which is the song they played on the Jack Benny show. And holy crap, this song is just this foot stomping, rocking, rolling, shredding good time. It gets to that middle part and then just jams for what feels like 2 minutes of just frenzied guitar and feedback and an organ that can't catch its breath, and just jumping all over the place. You can feel them really trying to create a mood, create an atmosphere, create a spirit, and really go down the rabbit hole of craziness before falling right back seamlessly into the chorus of the song without a problem, and then ending with another little jam out at the end. Totally mind-blowing song, especially when you just listen to the record and just listen, don't do anything else, don't read a book, don't play on your computer, don't draw, just sit here with the record, listen to it, and just get lost in what they're doing, and it's really, really cool. kind of sticking with this theme of every other song being kind of chill or quiet. The next one, Queen of My Nights, is this reflective cool down, which almost seems welcomed after the craziness of Tobacco Road. And it's a really pleasant song that showcases their great vocal prowess and ability to stay strong and powerful even when they're being soft. Great mood, great song. Closing off side one, I'll Go Crazy. This has to be one of the best covers of all time, let alone a cover of a James Brown song, where the original is fantastic. His version on Live at the Apollo is awesome. But this version of I'll Go Crazy, I mean, it's one of those like smash hits where every second is just this loose abandon that's sure to get your feet moving the whole time, and you just want to sing along and you just give in to this awesome track. This has always been one of my favorites on this album. I can't get enough of this song. It's one of those that comes on and you're like, oh, here we go. We're in now, man. This is it. I'll Go Crazy. All right, let's do it. Flipping over to side two, Gotta Get Away. This is a really cool song because it has a lot of that back and forth kind of vocal stuff with the hey, 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 and layering on top of each other when they sing Gotta Get Away, Gotta Get Away. Really cool. Definitely sticks out in this album as something pretty unique and original for them. Really enjoy that. Sometimes I Think About is the next song, and again, another real powerful slow burner blues kind of song that has sort of that like House of the Rising Sun feel. A really desperate vocal, a really powerful organ. Again, just they knew what their strong suits were, and they excelled at them. There isn't a second on this album where it's like, they shouldn't have done that. It's like, no, this was all planned out. Even their freakouts are like where they need to be. And the sequencing of this album, I feel, is really good. One by One was actually a single that came out after their second album came out and did okay for them. It like hit somewhere in the 70s, but it just seems weird that they put out Electric Comic Book and then as another single from this album a year later. I don't know whose idea that was, but whatever. And this song is probably the one song on the album that's like actually on the pop side. I can see it being like if the Monkees dropped acid or something. Like if the Monkees are like trying to do something kind of crazy, like maybe that's what they would do. And even then, it's not even that much of an excursion into like psychedelic freakout rock. It's just, it's got those pop sensibilities that make it charming, but still kind of its time. If I can word it any better than that. I love the chorus of that song. I love when it ends. It was just the vocals for the last bit. Definitely a catchy little number, so good song. Worried Life Blues. We're back to the smoky time blues cafe with this one. Really reflective groove, which picks up in the middle bit, but overall it just keeps this like deep, dark groove burning the whole way through. It's really cool to hear them do this because you see them doing psychedelic, you see them doing pop, then you see them doing blues. And it's all their sound. It doesn't sound like a different band when they do these different genres. It just still sounds like them. They got their flavor, they got their touch, and it just works. The last song on the album, She's Coming Home, this song is just a fiery rocker and a perfect way to end this album. It's just like, again, it features those vocals that only come from a young band that is like willing to do whatever they can to put their mark on music history and really show that they're worth having around and being on vinyl and being a part of your collection and going to see live. A band that wants to prove themselves will always make better music than a band that doesn't care. And that probably goes with most art. But this band, it's really sad that their career didn't last as long as it did. It was only 3 or 4 years. The original group, the core classic lineup, was from 65 to 69, and after that, it's kind of splintered and it's rocky. But this album is fantastic. It has been reissued. This is an original mono edition on the Mercury label. So here is the original Mercury label in mono, which is pretty cool. And then in 2011, Sundays got their hands on it and reissued it. So it's really cool to have the original and a reissue. Also just for the fact that one's stereo and one's mono. So a little bit of a difference in the cover. There's a little bit of a bar down here, whereas up here, the bar's up here. More of their legs on this one, not so much of their legs on this one. But yeah, Blues Magoos, Psychedelic Lollipop. This has been one of those albums and bands that I discovered on the Nuggets soundtrack years ago. And it's just one of those albums that, like, you put it on, you're in for a rock out time, man. It's a great record. I'd probably give this thing a 9, maybe a strong 8 or a 9. I wish it was longer. You know, it's only 10 songs. I wish there was more to it. So that's probably all I gotta say about that. This has been Album Reviews. My name is Giggens. This has been the Blues Magoos with Psychedelic Lollipop. Maybe I'll do Electric Comic Book pretty soon, but until then, thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing, and thank you for saying hi and all your amazing comments. I love talking about music with you guys, so keep it up and I'll keep it up. So, alright, Blues Magoos. Thanks.